are you? It's Gretchen. Good to have you here. So nice to have you joining me for Story and Art. Yep, it's a premiere because I'm still in Phoenix, and today we had a thunder and lightning storm and a bunch of rain, and now it's sunny, but who knows what it's doing. And the grandkids are been a little bit cooped up, so I'm going to get this story recorded for you guys, and then we're going to head on out while the weather might be good for a break. Anyway, I do have, I started out with a little video about Let It Fly. And, we always love these books that are historical fiction or nonfiction, historical nonfiction. And today, that's what I have, Let It Fly, about someone who was a kind of a special inventor that I did not know about. I always love to read about people who did invented things and flying kind of things. My dad was in World War II, was a pilot instructor, and he always loved planes and whatnot. And so it's been kind of a fascinating thing for me through the years to watch. So at the end of the book, I'll tell you a little bit about the author and illustrator that they have in the book. But right now, I'm going to jump right into this story called Wood Wire Wings. Emma Lillian Todd invents an airplane. Yay. There it is. And it's just a little bit bright for you guys there, I think. Bring that down so you can see better. There. Yes, and it's by Kirsten W. Larson, and it's illustrated by Tracy Subisak. Wood Wire Wings. Emma Lillian Todd invents an airplane. To Emma Lillian Todd, problems were like gusts of wind. They set her mind soaring. Sometimes the problems seemed small, like where to find metal to craft her inventions. Solution: she saved tin cans from her supper. But soon Lillian's challenges ballooned. Lillian grew up in a time when it seemed like everyone was tinkering. Let's see, I can read this. 1886, Josephine Garris Cochran patents the dishwasher. 1870s, Alexander Graham Bell patents the telephone. 1850s, the first mass-produced watches were developed. 1868, Christopher Latham Shells, Samuel Sewell, and Carlos Giddon invent the typewriter. 1901, Guillermo Marconi sends the first radio transmission across the Atlantic. 1879, incandescent bulbs is patented by Thomas Edison. 1851, Isaac Singer patents the practical sewing machine, with many more to follow. And 1870, what's that? Pneumatic subway is built by Alfred Eli Beach in New York. So lots of tinkering going on, including Lillian's grandfather, who invented his own carriage wheel. Just like grandfather, Lillian whittled and fiddled, turning dreams into useful inventions. One winter, Lillian rescued a broken toy from the trash and snatched a ball off the Christmas tree, and she trimmed and twisted, filed and fitted. And would the weather vane work? Lillian took it outside for a test, and when the wind blew, the weather vane pointed true. Success! Another day, she took apart a clock, spreading the pieces before her. Did this wheel fit here? Did that lever fit there? She put the pieces back this way. No tick. She put the pieces back that way. No tock. The clock stayed still. Failure. Lillian stood baffled, yet buoyed by the challenge. Ever since I can remember, I couldn't have a piece of tin or wire in my hands without bending it and twisting it to make something. I was always making things, and my mother saw to it that I wasn't discouraged, that I had the tools I wanted. Lillian Todd, 1910. Lillian couldn't imagine a life without tools or tin, wires or wheels, yet inventing wasn't women's work. So she did the next best thing. She got a job typing up plans for new machines at the U.S. Patent Office. While Lillian's fingers raced across the keys, she constructed each contraption in her head. Wow. Talk about focus on what you want to do. Soon, blueprints for fantastic flying machines flooded the office. But could they really fly? Lillian needed to know. Lillian fixed her eyes on a new horizon, a future of flight. She tinkered with tiny aircraft in her new Manhattan apartment after long days of typing, winding rubber band propellers to send small airplanes soaring, stitching balloons which bobbed and bounced from the ceiling. When Lillian tinkered and tested, other inventors flew the first full-size airplanes. But when she read the news, she simply shook her head. The designs still seemed fantastical, not practical. Lillian vowed to build something better, an airplane with sloping wings to glide like a bird and a cockpit for two. The machine of the Wright brothers has to be navigated by its operator lying flat and waving his legs in the air. My machine will be operated by a woman, I hope. She will swing in a basket below and balance it as automatically as does a person riding a bicycle. Lillian Todd, 1908. Lillian spent hours considering the crows circling overhead, studying the angle of an albatross's wing, and constructing models that hung like chandeliers from the ceiling. Before long, her airplane took over her apartment. Then it took over her life. Amidst the parts and pieces, Lillian's bird emerged from bamboo covered in canvas. At last she strapped a doll to the basket and sent it soaring. It dipped, then dove straight down. Crash! The airplane and its passengers smashed to pieces. With a second model, Lillian's hopes took flight once more, but her model didn't. Failure. Lillian stood there baffled, but buoyed by the challenge. Then on the third try, her model slipped into the sky until, whoop, a slight mishap when a wire snapped. Yet it was a breakthrough. Now, Lillian knew an airplane built from her design could fly. The men make fun of the way I construct my models, but they admit that my ideas are all right and that a full-size airplane built in accordance with those same despised models will fly, which is the principal thing after all, isn't it? Lillian Todd, 1908. By 1908, Lillian realized her ballooning project couldn't cram into her apartment. She was simply short on space, and short on money too. What could Lillian do to keep her dream aloft? Why, tackle each setback one by one, like a pilot taking off a checklist. Get money. Check. She asked Olivia Sage, one of the richest women in the world. I've always been interested in Lillian because I think she's a capable woman. I would like to see women do things. Olivia Sage, 1910. Find space. Check. She hired the Woodman brothers to assemble the airplane at their plant. Sketch a frame of sturdy spruce. Check. Buy supplies, muslin, army duck, and piano wire to put it all together. Check, check, double check. A year later, there was one box left to tick. Find an engine. At that time, suitable airplane engines were hard to come by, as scarce as women working with the wood and wire. Instead, Lillian had to make do with a car engine. At last, her plane was ready for takeoff. This machine is completed and ready to prove to the world that a woman's machine is quite equal to a man-made flyer, and far more practicable in some respects than many he has made. Lillian Todd, 1909. An airplane crafted by a woman was quite a curiosity. So, no surprise, Lillian chose to showcase her plane at the 1909 Interborough Fair in New York, where it captivated crowds alongside cannons catapulting ladies through the air. As the fairgoers crushed close, Lillian readied her plane for takeoff. But the engine sputtered. The plane shuddered. It wouldn't budge at all. Failure! Buoyed by the challenge, Lillian brainstormed her next step. Secured space to work through the winter? Check. Studying motors and revised her design? Check. Score another engine, an airplane engine? Double check. Since the engine company crafted just 2 a month, Lillian knew she would have to wait and wait and wait some more. For almost a year, and while tweaking and tinkering with her design. When the engine finally arrived in the fall of 1910, Lillian checked the final box, install the engine. She gave it a whirl, the new engine purred, the propeller whirred, Lillian's dreams ready to soar once more. It's the work that grips you. I work myself 17 hours a day often and then fuss because I've got to go to bed and waste time sleeping. Lillian Todd, 1910. On November 7th of 1910, cars lined a road along a field and crowds crushed close to watch the latest marvels, daring pilots demonstrating flying machines. Some were fantastical, others, like Lillian's, were quite practical. As the day dragged on, slicing icy winds whipped across the plain. One pilot scuttled his flight, declaring it too windy to fly. Lillian worried about the weather. Should she wait and waste her chance? Lillian wouldn't wing it. She had waited for 4 years to see her plane lift off. She could wait a few moments more. When the winds died down, Lillian made her final checks and found the best spot to study her airplane's every dip and dive. At last, Lillian's pilot drove the plane onto the field, bouncing across the grass, picking up speed. Faster, 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 until success! It lifted off, soaring toward the future. Will I guide it myself? Well, I think perhaps during the experimental stages I may simply observe its actions, but later on, I surely will drive it. So it lifted off, soaring toward the future, filled with flying. There is no work so discouraging, so exasperating, so delightful, so mean, so difficult, so exhilarating as building airplanes. Lillian Todd, 1910. So here's the author's notes. The Wright brothers invented the airplane in 1903. When I was growing up, their success seemed like the end of the story. But what I've learned from a lifetime of living and working around planes is that the Wright brothers, the Wright Flyer, was just the beginning. Being the first to make something doesn't always mean your solution is the best one. Engineers spend as much time improving existing designs as creating new ones. The Wright brothers' airplane was an amazing achievement, but imagine if pilots today still lay on their stomachs and slid their hips back and forth to help control the plane, like the Wrights did. Inventors like Lillian Todd wanted to build planes that flew better and could be controlled like a car or bicycle. Every designer had his or her own ideas, and for many years, each airplane built in the United States was unique. No two looked just alike. Each flight proved new ideas, right or wrong, and helped create the airplanes we know today. While many early airplane designers completed to fly faster, higher, and farther, Lillian focused on making airplanes a practical form of transportation, like the trolley. Along the way, she got her own patent for an invention to hold up papers while she typed. She also became an Aeronautics Society's first women member and founded the Junior Aero Club in America, which taught children the science of flight and encouraged invention. After her airplane's successful flight, Lillian donated it to the New York National Guard, making the Guard the first state military to have an airplane. Many of Lillian Todd's ideas don't survive in modern airplanes. She talked often of her plane's bird-like wings, yet airplanes today don't have them. Once tested, they might not have made the airplane fly any better. Yet other choices she made do survive, like the use of ailerons. These hinged surfaces, invented by Glenn and Curtiss, were an improvement over the Wright brothers' idea of twisting the wings to control the airplane. At places like the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, where I worked for 6 years, engineers still grapple with issues from Lillian's day, like making better engines and improving control during flight. They experiment with solar-powered and electric planes. They invent new designs for flying faster without making noisy sonic booms. And they create ways to automatically control airplanes to make them safer to fly. There is at least one big difference from Lillian's day, though. Today, many airplanes engineers are women. I think Lillian would have liked that. Great pictures. Shows the age of airstrips early on and different kinds of airships. Some more selected biographies that she used. And Kristen W. Larson worked with rocket scientists at NASA for 6 years. Now she writes about science, including rocket science for kids. She is the author of more than 25 books for children, including the Robotics in Our World series. This is her debut picture book. She lives near Los Angeles with her husband, 2 children, and their dog. Tracy Subisak worked as an industrial designer for 7 years before beginning her business as a freelance illustrator and designer. She's the illustrator of Grizzly Boy by Barbara Davis Plyles, Sean Loves Sharks by Curtis Manley, and Cy Makes a Friend. She lives in Portland, Oregon. Yeah. Well, if you hear noise in the background, you guys, Annalena just got home, surprising the kids. Surprising the kids for homecoming. She wasn't supposed to be home till tomorrow. So that's a big surprise. Anyway, everybody, that's it for today's Story and Art. I hope you got a kick out of that. Another one of these nonfiction about somebody who did some pretty fantastical things. I tell you, there's so many women out there that have made a difference in our history, men and women both, but there's so many that it is just pretty fun to see these come out and the way they can spark things in kids' imagination and to show that never giving up, trying something new, and it makes it pretty fantastic. So anyway, that's the story for today that I had for you, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed it. It was just, there we go, sorry. I hope you enjoyed Wood, Wire, and Wings and the story of Lily and Todd. I think it's pretty fantastic. And like always, thank you so much for being here and for being part of my Story and Art Circle and for enjoying these books. And I will come back tomorrow with another premiere because we've only got a couple days left here in Phoenix. We're going to have to head back a little sooner than we thought. So, but that means I'll be on the road and be able to do some lives, possibly from the hotels on the way home. But I'll let you know what's up, and until next time, you guys, keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you, but the first place you'll find it is in your mirror. Talk to you soon. In the heat of the night,